Landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess, and my prostate, it burns us! If you watch Lord of the Rings, that's actually funny. But I have been carrying this boy right here. Oh my god, I am so happy. So this is the Schrade Delta Class Tough Tool, one of the series, and for the new eyes here that haven't really seen me go over this before, years and years ago, back in the early 2000s, I worked on a Air Force Reserve base doing roads and grounds, and I traded a coworker a couple of packs of cigarettes for one of these. And I had this thing for years, and I did so much with it because the equipment that we used there was so beat down. The next job I had, the equipment was even worse. So this thing stayed on me, and I used it for so much stuff. This thing was so enjoyable to use. Now, I think it might have been 2005, 2006, something like that, but I was at a wedding. They rented a cabin for us to stay the night at, and I consumed so much sangria, like an irresponsible amount, and when we got home, my Schrade Delta Class Tough Tool was nowhere to be seen. It was gone. So, at that point in my life, I didn't have Amazon, I didn't have access to the internet, we were living poor and we were living out in the sticks. So, the memory of what this thing was, who made it and all that, faded. The memory faded out on that, and I forgot who made it or anything else like that, but I always wanted to replace it. So, fast forward, and I've got Amazon, and, the memory popped up. I want to look for that thing, because I was also looking to see what it would take to replace my Benchmade 9000 series that I lost whenever I got my divorce. That's a whole nother story, and I was like, I kept looking, and I thought this thing opened differently than I did. I thought it, opened this way, sideways. So I'm looking for, sideways opening multi-tool and stuff like that, and I couldn't find anything. And then finally, I just kept entering random stuff until one of these popped up, and I was like, is that it? And I went back and looked several times. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's the one that I lost. So I went on Amazon, I ordered one up, and this brings you and me together to this point in time and space. And so I have been carrying this with me, and, I was hoping, please let it live up to the nostalgia. Please let the nostalgia hold up. It doesn't happen often that your nostalgia is still valid years later, but in this case, oh God, I was so happy to have this thing on me the whole time. This is kind of like, when your first car, when you get into another, if your first car is like a Honda Accord, and you haven't driven one in years, and you get back in there, and you're like, oh my God, this feels like home. Holy crap. It was that feeling, like putting on a very old pair of shoes you haven't worn in a while. It felt so good. And the old one, I got it broke in real good, and this one, I did break it in and lubricated the pivot so that the action is looser than a woman of ill repute. You can really butterfly knife this thing open, you can butterfly knife it closed, you can hit your ring light with it. I love that. I love pulling it out of there and ka-chow. It feels good to do that. It is so much fun. You can also hit your Tim School of Fish sticker. So, you can hit so much stuff with this if you're too close to your camera. But, the other big thing with this is most of the tools on this lock open. The tools lock. And this was the first multi-tool that I carried for any length of time. I believe I had a Leatherman before this that I believe got lost or stolen. I don't remember. I didn't have it long enough to really develop a bond with it. But this was the first one I really bonded with. And we'll use the Phillips head screwdriver as an example. But you pull this thing open, and she is locked. The lock is on the back right here. You can see it locked into place. And it's a pretty solid lockup. And that's what gets me. I've used multi-tools after this, and usually these things do not lock. They don't lock, so you got a kind of awkward handle, and these things keep folding up while you're trying to drive a screw or something like that, or deal with a little bit of a challenging piece. This really set my expectation that all multi-tools should have locking tools, and the Leatherman curl that I carried, the tools don't lock. It did good despite that, but I want my tools to lock. So the lock on this is kind of funky because you can kind of see it's a pretty weird lock. It's a little bit of a non-sophisticated design, but it's a good one. You've got these raised dinguses right here, and you press down on the dingus, and the boy closes. And, it's again, I use this for so much stuff. We had air-fuel mixtures on equipment that needed to be constantly adjusted to just keep it barely running. It was worn out as hell. You know, we had hose clamps to fix. Hose clamps! I have tripped on that word like 8 times. I don't know why. But, you know, hose clamps, stuff like that. Like, I use these a ton. And, you know, the only real kick in the nuts here. The only real kick in the nuts. And I think you guys can kind of see it right out the gate. Is this is not a bit driver. This bit is not replaceable. So if this thing goes out on you, you strip it out, you're just kind of out of luck. You don't really have much recourse for it unless you get a Dremel tool out and kind of work on it and get it massaged back into place. But you know, as long as you're careful with it, you're all right. You know, I was walking around work just looking for stuff to fix. I'm like, let me fix something here. You know, and I did fix some stuff, and I felt like I was starting to push that screwdriver a little bit too hard. I'm like, nope, let me back off. I'm not ruining this thing right after I get it. So, you know, and I mean, one of the other things too that I really, really wanted to have is, let me find it. Yeah, there she blows. Is, you know, having a knife open and lock in place. You know, it'd be great if the knife opened one-handed, and, you know, that's kind of what attracted me to an SOG multi-tool that I've got that's not great. That thing's not a great experience, but, like, this is a pretty firm lockup. It's definitely more than firm enough. And, you know, that is the kind of thing that I'm looking for, because, like, especially the knife. I absolutely do not want to be using it for something, and the knife just kind of closes up, because, again, it's an awkward handle shape. You're going to be here like this, like every other knife, and if it closes, your fingy's getting messed up. But that SOG, like, the only cool thing that thing's got is the knife in there is spring assisted, so that thing pops out, and I love that, but I don't like the rest of the multi-tool. But that's not the one we're talking about. So, you know, and this thing, it was on sale, so I paid $20 for it on Amazon. I believe regular price, they are $30, so that's also part of what the attraction is for this thing, is it is definitely a fantastic budget piece. You know, you can get one of these for $30, and I'm going to be honest, you lubricate the pivot just a little bit and break it in, and you've got a very cool action on this thing, like a very cool little trick to do with this thing. And again, everything locks on it. You can access the tools without opening it. That's another thing I love. I don't have to open it to get to the tools on it, you know, and we have got, let's pull stuff out. We've got, we got a small ruler right here. We got a saw. We have got a little Wharncliffe-ish blade right here. We have got our flathead screwdriver. We got a little scratcher thing right here. What else have we got? What else we got, guys? What else we got? So we got our can opener. We got our Phillips head. We got a little hook thing for picking at stuff. We got our knife. And we have, come on, we got a file right here. And we got like a double cut file, single cut file. We got a hard file right here on the back, on the spine. Like, it's got a lot going for it. And I'll be honest, I did not run into many things that I could not deal with this thing. It is very, very, very capable. It does so many things so well. So, you know, I'm gonna link off to this. Like, when I find really good stuff, I like to remember to link off to it on Amazon so you can check this out. But if you're looking for a solid multi-tool and you're looking for something that's not gonna break the bank, yeah, you guys get it. This thing is fantastic, and the pouch that it comes in, the only complaint I have about this is, like, that's a little bit stiff. Like, if that's the only complaint I have about a belt pouch, it's doing good. I mean, it fits good, it closes easily, and the loop on here is pretty damn secure. This thing did bump and scrape against some stuff. You can kind of see right here, this took enough abuse and hit enough stuff that if the belt loop was fragile, it would have been broken. So, you know, that is the Schrade Delta Class Tough Tool. I am so delighted that I remember what this thing was. The nostalgia held up for once. Now, if they will bring back Airwalks, Genkos, and Sobe in glass bottles, and Surge, my list of demands is getting longer by the second. I'll be a happy man. But, yeah, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so, so much. You have no idea. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We do have giveaways coming up at some point here. We got live streams for you. There's plenty of activities. Comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this thing right here. Are you interested in getting one of these now that you've seen it? And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.